Hey guys, welcome back to another video from Homesteading Off the Grid. As of this recording, it is the very first day of fall 2019, and I've been up here for 2 hours admiring the morning. I finished my coffee, so I've switched over to water, and it's so beautiful. I wanted to share it with you, so I decided the best way to do that would be to make a video and talk to you about one of the most important things any of us as pet owners can do to protect our pets in the event they ever get lost or stolen, whether it's a cat, whether it's a dog, and that is to make sure we always have an extra packet of spaghetti on us at all times. In the house at least, or our apartment, our condo, or dorm room. Because should we ever lose our cat or our dog, having that extra packet of spaghetti, being able to cook those noodles, keep them wet, and do something very unique may enable us to retrieve or recover our lost pet. I'll explain what I'm talking about here as we enjoy this beautiful first morning of fall together. So, this past weekend on Sunday, yesterday as of this recording, my beautiful wife and our son and myself were in town going for a nice walk. It was the last day of summer. We wanted to spend it together. Well, we spend every day together that we can, unless we have responsibilities dictating otherwise. But we actually went up to Monticello, the home of Thomas Jefferson. Then we went down into town after that because we still had more daylight hours, and we're going for a long walk. And we were walking through a part of town where there's a lot of college housing. It's close to the university, beautiful part of town. Charlottesville, there's not a piece of Charlottesville that isn't beautiful. So we're walking this loop, and I see on a telephone pole a flyer put up for a lost cat. There's a picture of the cat, a full color picture of the cat, and there's a very sizable reward being offered for this cat. And the first thing I thought was, how terrible, because I have a cat, and guys, our pets are part of our families. If you're a pet owner, you know this. And I thought, well, that's terrible. I would hate to lose our cat, Cleopatra. We love her so much. But then secondly, I think that's an awful lot of money, and I don't know how smart that is. I'm not going to state the dollar amount, but I thought that's just, I know this person obviously loves their cat and they want the cat back. And maybe they're a person of means and this is nothing to them, but it seemed like a lot to me. So we keep walking. We're noticing how some of the sycamore trees leaves are already turning yellow. A lot of the autumn blaze maples are already turning yellow. They'll of course switch over to really bright blaze orange. That's my favorite tree, especially in the fall. So we go about another half mile or so. We got about a 3-mile loop we do down there. And I see this flyer again, same flyer, and there's a phone number on it. And I'm thinking, wow, this person really got out, did the footwork required to put these flyers up everywhere. I hope they get this cat back. I just hope they really don't pay such an outrageous sum if they do. So anyway, just to speed it up, we're going. We see this flyer again. I turned to my wife and I said, honey, I got to help this person. This is an awful lot of money to pay for a cat, and I don't think this person realizes the dangers they might be putting themselves in by doing such a thing. I'm going to call this person and see if we can help. And she says, okay. She doesn't care. So, I mean, she cares about the cat. She didn't care that I was taking the time to do this. So her and our son, they kind of sit there on the curb. They're looking at the trees and watching people go by. So I call this person. I say, hey, I'm calling about your lost cat. And it was a female voice, a young lady, and she gets all excited. She goes, did you find my Winnie? I said, no, I didn't find your Winnie. I said, but I've been seeing your flyers down here. And I said, look, I want to help if I can, and I believe I can, if you're willing to accept my help. I said, but you got to take these flyers down. I said, look, I don't know your financial situation, but this is an awful lot of money for a cat. And she's like, oh, but I love my cat. And I'm like, I know, I have a cat and I love my cat too very much. But I said, look, here's what you might be doing here is, you know, you're sending out a beacon to some people that might be up to not so good intentions, knowing you have money. They might call you and claim to have your cat when they really don't, just to maybe get with you and maybe threaten you, and or maybe try to just get some money out of you. She's like, I never thought of that. I said, well, you know, and secondly, let's say somebody does find your cat and they return it and you give them this outrageous sum. You might be setting your cat up to be taken at some future date by this person's buddy so they can get another reward and split the money. She's like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. And I said, are you a student here at the university? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, these are the kinds of things they just don't teach up there at college. These are the kind of things that, you learn having gone around the block of the real world a few times. And I just don't want to see more harm come to you because of this large fee you're offering to find your cat. I want to help. And she said, well, how is it that you think you can help me? So I said, well, it depends. I said, do you have any spaghetti there at your house? And she said, what? I said, yeah, spaghetti, like any uncooked spaghetti, cooked or uncooked. She says, well, she says, I'm a college student. I got spaghetti and I've got ramen noodles. It's inexpensive food that can go a long way. Which is ironic because here she's offering this large reward, which kind of let me think maybe she doesn't come for me and she just really wants his cat back. So I said, okay. I said, listen, I'm a little older. I'm a middle-aged man, but it was still daylight. I said, I'm with my wife and we have our son. I said, say hi, guys. And my wife and son said hi. I said, so I can assure you of your safety. Should you allow me to come there and help you find this cat? If you feel comfortable, tell me where you are and I'll come. And so she gave me the address, and it was about a 4 or 5 minute walk back. We had to turn around. She lived kind of in the middle of this loop we were walking. I said, okay, we can be there in 5 minutes. There's something I need you to do from the time we hang up the phone until we get there. And she says, what's that? And I said, cook spaghetti. And she said, hold on. She's walking to her cabinets. She says, I've got angel hair spaghetti noodles pasta. And I said, great, because that stuff cooks up in 2 minutes. Start the water boiling, get those noodles in the water, and we'll see you there in maybe 5 to 10 minutes, okay? So she says, okay. She gets off the phone. She tells me her name. I don't want to, release that. We'll call her Susie, okay? So about 8 or 10 minutes later, me and my wife and our son, we get to Susie's, it's like condo / apartment, college housing type thing. So we knock on the door. She comes out. I says, do you have the spaghetti noodles? She says, yeah. I said, okay, drain them, but put them in a bowl of like cool water so they stay wet. These spaghetti noodles must be wet while we do this. So she gives me this strange look, and then she looks at my wife, and my wife just starts giggling and laughing. That's what she does. My wife had no clue what I was up to. Rarely does she ever, but she knows that for some outrageous reason, a lot of times my ideas, as crazy as they are, they work. So my wife's giggling. Susie, as we're calling her, goes back into her condo to get the spaghetti noodles, put them in a bowl of water. So I'm surveying the area. And this was a perfect area for something like this to work, because it was all college housing. And you could see the condos, the apartments, and there's a big parking lot in the middle. So when we would be in the parking lot later, everybody that lives in that area would be able to see us from their windows. So Susie comes back out and she goes, how is this going to work? I said, well, you'll see. I said, and once we get your cat back, we've got to go take down those flyers because, like I said, you're making yourself and your cat a target. We got to get those flyers down. She said, they've been up for 3 days and you're the first person to call it. I can't believe that nobody has seen my cat after seeing these flyers. Where could my cat be? And I said, well, first of all, Susie, nobody's seen your flyers. And she said, well, you saw 3 of them. And because I told her I called after the third while we were having small talk there while she was getting the noodles and whatnot. And I said, I know, but nobody else has seen them. And she said, but they're at eye level. Hundreds of people a day, if not thousands, walk by here. This is a big college housing area. I said, I know, but they're not seeing your flyers. And she said, why not? I don't get it. I said, okay, let's stand here for a second and let's watch. And she had a flyer on the post just right outside her door and down the way a little bit, which is where we happen to be. I said, here comes some people here. Here comes 3 people. 2 were together. One was about 20 yards behind the other 2. I said, let's watch and see if they notice your flyer. So we stand off to the side. We watch. All 3 people walk by and they don't see the flyer, because all they were seeing were their smartphones. They were walking by. They were scrolling social media, Facebook. I think one of them might have been watching some silly video on YouTube about some crazy guy that's looking for Bigfoot or Sasquatch or something like that in the yard behind his house. And then the third one was like instant messaging somebody on whatever. And I said to Susie, I said, look, people really don't notice their surroundings anymore. They just don't pay attention. So there's been thousands of people walk by these pictures. There may have been hundreds or dozens of people at least walk by your cat, and they're not going to notice because they're like on that, gadget. So she said, wow, I never really realized that. And I said, well, I realized it years ago. I said, so come on, let's get out here in the middle of the parking lot with these noodles and let's find your cat. So we go to the middle of the parking lot. We position ourselves to where we are the central focal point should anybody be looking out any of these windows of all this college housing. I said, okay, Susie, here's what I want you to do. I grabbed a handful of wet spaghetti noodles. I gave them to her. I said, I want you to lay one noodle out straight. I want you to take 3 normal-sized paces and then lay another noodle out straight. Stand up, 3 more paces, lay it out straight, and go all the way across the parking lot. And she said, how is this going to find my cat? I said, just do it. Don't question it. Do you want your cat back? She says, yeah. I said, okay, just do this. And I said, and by the way, should this work, I'm not accepting any money from you. And I told her this already. So she goes, she starts putting the spaghetti noodles out. Well, I'm watching, I'm looking around, and I'm waiting. It doesn't take but maybe 3 or 4 minutes to go by before two guys walk through. They notice her out in the parking lot putting these spaghetti noodles out every 3 paces apart. And they see me standing there holding a bowl of wet spaghetti noodles. They come over and they say, dude, what's going on? I said, well, we're doing something very important. We're trying to find this girl's lost cat. Would you like to help us? And they're like, what? I said, yeah, and I motioned towards her. Now, Susie is a very beautiful young lady. These guys look over, they notice that. They go, yeah, we'll help. They couldn't get in there and help quick enough. I said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I said, here, you, guy number 1. I said, I want you to go to the line of noodles she started, and I want you to fill in the middle part. Put a noodle in the center. Try to keep the open space on the sides as spaced apart evenly as possible. He's like, okay, and he just runs over, and he's doing this so quickly, it's as if he's trying to catch up with her. I gave the other guy a handful of noodles. I said, look, go 3 paces off to the side from that row and start doing the same thing she is. We're going to start another row. So he starts doing it. So we've got 3 of these students out here putting these spaghetti noodles, wet spaghetti noodles, in the parking lot. Well, as time goes by, people start coming out of their condos, their apartments, asking what's going on. And I said, we're doing something very important. We're trying to find this girl's lost cat. Now, I'd taken down one of the flyers, so I had the picture of the cat, full color photo. I said, have you seen this cat? And they said, no, I haven't seen that cat, but I want to help. So to speed up a little bit here, we've got 8-ish people, maybe 9 people putting spaghetti noodles. We're working on our 4th row. And then maybe we're 15 minutes into it. This other guy comes down. What are you doing? I told him, we're trying to find a lost cat. This is how. Have you seen this cat? He says, oh my gosh, that's my girlfriend's new cat. I said, are you sure? He said, yeah. I said, where's your girlfriend live? And he points. It turns out 3 doors down from Susie. I said, is your girlfriend home? He says, yeah. I said, well, can you bring her out to verify this? Because if this is the cat that she has, I don't really think it's hers. I think it's Susie's. So the guy goes back. He comes out, brings his girlfriend. She goes, oh my gosh, yeah. It's the strangest thing. She said, I opened my door about 3 days ago, and this cat just darts in my place and goes underneath my bed. Like it was scared. It didn't want to be outside. She tried to get the cat, tried to coax it out, but it wouldn't come. So she had to go to class. She shut her door, locked her place, went to class, and this cat's been with her for the last 3 days. And so I said, Susie, come here. Susie comes. They confirm this is her cat. They go and they get the cat. Susie's happy as can be. I told Susie, I wouldn't mention this. Susie's trying to give this girl money. This girl had deep-rooted character, and she said no. She said, I just want you to have your cat back. I will not take your money. We refuse to take any money. And the girl admitted that she had obviously walked right past these flyers for 3 days, or 2 or 3 days, however long they were up, never noticed them. And I said, was it because you were scrolling on your smartphone or your Android or whatever? And she laughed and she said, probably. You know us millennials. I'm like, well, yeah. So the good news is, long story short, and I know it's too late, Susie got her cat back, and she didn't have to pay an outrageous fee, which might make herself a target or make the cat a target in the future. The day ended well, and it took less than half an hour of us being there. Me and my wife and my son finished our walk, and we were home before dark, and we got to bed early, and now here we are, the first beautiful morning of fall. And I know there's one happy young lady that has her cat back, and she didn't have to part with any of her hard-earned cash or her parents' hard-earned cash to get it back, and it all ended well. So keep that in mind, folks. If you have a dog, if you have a cat, or any other sort of pet that runs the risk of getting outside, make sure you always keep extra spaghetti in your house so you may be able to get them back. Thanks for being with us here this morning on a very beautiful morning, first fall 2019, for another video from Homesteading Off the Grid. We hope you'll join us for more sometime in the future, and I am going to give you a very beautiful parting shot of our homestead here on the first day of fall 2019.